Gentlemen, you are the cream of the world's air forces. This country desperately needs your help. 6 months ago, an extremely well-armed and organized terrorist force carried out a coup d'etat. Attempts to free our country have been foiled by repeated surprise attacks. To avoid escalating this war and causing unacceptable civilian losses, we wish to employ your services. Surgical airstrikes and the elimination of enemy air superiority will tip the scales in our favor. You will receive remuneration commensurate with your positions as the premier top guns of the world. This is an evaluation of your operational abilities. Intelligence reports an enemy supply unit moving to resupply their forward positions. You should have the advantage of surprise. We should have localized air superiority for the duration of the operation. Target, C5A supply unit.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Great shot! Enemy blew him away! Stay with him! Great shot! Don't move! Toes! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot him down! Jesus, miss! Don't let him get away! Great shot! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Jesus, miss! Here! Toes! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Great shot! Enemy locked on target. Fire! He's wasted! Stay with him. Great shot! He's wasted! Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Here! Toes! Enemy target located. Locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Bingo! Yahoo! Back one! Fire! Shoot him down! Bingo! Yahoo! Here! Toes! Mission accomplished.
Immediate mobilization required. Our base's position was compromised in the last enemy push. Reports indicate imminent arrival of bombers. Scramble and ace those bogies. Target, B-52 Bomber Force.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Break shot! Bogey on our 6. On our right! Enemy up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Great shot! Here! Enemy target located. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus! Miss! On our right! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Blew him away! On our left! Up ahead! On our right! Bogey on our tail! Bogey on our 6! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6! Enemy locked on target. Take off! Great shot! Bogey on our tail! Fire! Shoot it down! On our left! Stay with him! Blew him away!
Alert,
Bogey
body
on our 6!
damage. Alert, body
Bogey on
damage.
our tail!
Alert, body damage.
Enemy in
Alert,
on our
body
left!
damage. Alert,
Let's
body
return to
damage.
mission, buddy! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Enemy in... On our right! Bogey on our 6. Stay with him. Take off! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Don't let him see you. Enemy target located. Let's return to mission, buddy. I'm losing him. Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Bogey on our 6. Don't let him get away. Take off! Don't let him get away. Stay with him. Enemy target located. Mission accomplished.
AWACS reports an enemy incursion in our sector. We are diverting you from local air support to forward operations. Neutralize the approaching units. Target enemy attacking force. Formation makeup is unknown. Expect enemy fighter support and a tough dogfight. Good luck.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Put it down! Bogey on our 6! Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Bogey on our 6! Bingo! Yahoo! Take off! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Put it down! Bag 1! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Locked on. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! On our right! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! On our left! Enemy in sight! On our left! Bogey on our 6! Up ahead! On our left! Bogey on our 6! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target! Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Toast! On our left! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Toast! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. On our left! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Bag 1! Booked at 12 o'clock. Up ahead! On our left! Enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Stay with him. Don't let him get away. Stay with him. Bring back 1. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Bingo. Yahoo! On our right. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bag 1! Mission accomplished.
Up to now, our offensive missions have been constrained by the presence of civilians in Donetsk City. A recent evacuation of that city permits us to engage hard targets within the city perimeter. Target 1, Computer Communications Center. Target 2, Enemy Headquarters Building. Night conditions should neutralize enemy ground fire. However, the city has at least 3 interceptors available. We have no intelligence on force composition. From now on, you will have a wingman assigned to you. Inform him of the operation before departure.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Bingo! Yahoo! Bogey at 12 o'clock. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Bingo! Yeah! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! On our right. Bogey on our tail. Enemy in. On our left. Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our 6. Great shot! Bogey on our 6. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. On our right. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! On our right. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Great bogey on our tail. Take off. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy
Warning.
locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss!
Warning.
Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! On our left. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail! Take off! On our left! Bogey on our 6. And on our left! Enemy locked on target. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our take off! I'm losing it! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy target located. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6. Enemy target located. Take off! Enemy locked on target. Great! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Bogey on our 6. On our right! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Blew him away! Enemy target located. Up ahead! On our right! Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Bogey on our 6. Bogey, take off! On our right! Bogey on our tail!
Alert. Body damage. Alert.
Enemy
Body
target
damage.
located.
Alert. Body
Bogey on our
damage.
6.
Alert. Body damage.
Mission accomplished.
Reconnaissance indicates a weak link in their fuel supply infrastructure. A single pipeline transfers all crude oil from their fields to their refinery. Strike both the pipeline and the refinery. Target, oil refinery plant and oil field. Use the pipeline as a reference to the refinery. Locate and destroy.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Focus 12 o'clock.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
Up
damage.
ahead! Enemy locked on target. Away! He's wasted! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Enemy locked the bridge. Shot! Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Enemy in sight. Great shot! Great shot! Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution. Low altitude. Caution.
Too low. Flying!
Low altitude.
Enemy in sight. Altitude too low. Flying!
Caution.
Pull out of it!
Engine stall. Caution. Engine stall. Caution.
Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Bingo! Yahoo!
Caution,
Pull out of it!
engine stall.
Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on bogey at 12 o'clock. Great! Bogey on our tail! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. On our right! Bogey at 12 o'clock. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus! Miss! On our left! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Take off! Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus! Miss! Stay with it! No, Jesus! Miss! Bogey on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Here! Enemy target located. Take off! On our left! Up ahead! On our left! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Take off! On our left! On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! On our left! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! Back one! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Caution,
Bingo! Yahoo!
caution, alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Caution,
Great shot!
caution.
Enemy targets located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey on our 6. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy target take off. Mission accomplished.
The enemy has proved to have significant resources. This war of attrition is not to our advantage. We are now targeting key infrastructure sites. Target: resources mining system and production plant. Intelligence reports stealth fighters operating in this theater. Remember, their lack of radar signature makes visual sighting essential.
Ready? Break now! Enemy targets located.
Warning.
Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Guys! Guys! Enemy locked on target. Take off! On our right! On our left! Up ahead! Jesus! Miss! Bogey on our 6! Oh, pull out of it!
Engine stall.
Bogey at 12 o'clock. Bogey on our 6! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6!
Alert body damage. Alert body damage. Alert body damage. Alert body damage. Alert body damage.
Let's return to mission, buddy! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. On our left! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot down! Great shot! He's wasted! Enemy locked on target.
Alert body damage. Alert body damage.
Great shot!
Alert body damage. Alert body damage. Alert body damage.
Let's return to mission, buddy. Enemy targets located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Enemy locked on target. On our right. Bogey on our tail. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. On our right. Up ahead. On our right. Up ahead. On our left. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Bingo. Yahoo! Here. Oh, bogey on our tail. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Jesus. Miss. On our left. Bogey on our tail. Enemy target located.
Warning.
Locked on us.
Warning.
Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Pull out of it. Up ahead. On our left. Up ahead. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Let's return to mission. Enemy in sight. Take off. Bogey at 12 o'clock. On our left. Bogey on our tail. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot!
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Up ahead!
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Enemy bogey on our 6. Take back one! On our take off! Let's return to mission, buddy! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Stay bogey on our 6. Don't let him get away! Take off! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on
Alert.
our
Body
6.
damage. Alert. Body damage.
On our
Alert.
left.
Body damage. Alert.
Enemy
Body
target
damage.
located.
Alert. Body damage.
Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. On our left. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Bogey on our tail. Take off. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Enemy target close. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy locked on target. Great! Altitude too low. Flying! Mission accomplished.
The enemy's ADCRS, Air Defense Command and Radar System, has been identified. We can expect a steep drop in enemy effectiveness if this site is destroyed. The enemy has an effective SAM kill zone around the target. Its one weak point is a narrow ravine leading to the base. This requires precision, nap of the earth flying. Target, enemy radar site. You have no effective countermeasures to this model of SAM. Exit the ravine and you are toast.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Move on the tail! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Blue, ammo, away! Move on the tail! Enemy in... Up ahead! Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Back one! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Move on our tail! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot down! Back one! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Quick shot! Mission accomplished.
Regaining Donetsk City is a prime strategic consideration for the enemy. To forestall offensive operations, we will strike their staging area. Target, staging facilities and B-1 bombers. Our goal is to hit them just before their incursion begins.
Ready? Break now! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Back one! On our left! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Stay with him. They blew him away! Enemy targets located. Let's return to mission, buddy! Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy wasted! On our left! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy wasted! Bogey on our 6. On our left!
Warning.
Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Don't let him get Jesus! Miss! Enemy in sight. Fire! Bingo! Yahoo! Jesus! Miss! Bogey on our 6. Stay with him. Jesus! Miss! Take off! Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Enemy target located. Bingo! Bogey on our 6. On our right. On our left. Enemy up ahead. Bogey on our tail. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Take off. Enemy locked on great shot. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our tail. Enemy up ahead.
Warning.
Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Mission accomplished.
Naval Intelligence report a transport heading to Nawikot Bay. Since it may be a troop transport, we need to sink it before it docks. Follow up with destruction of the island port facilities. The opposition is expected to consist of an enemy fighter wing of unknown composition and patrolling Aegis warships. The Aegis missile system is highly effective. Eliminate the warships quickly.
Ready? Break now! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Wait! Focus on our 6. Enemy targets located. Focus on our 6. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Focus on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! Take off! Stay with him. Wait! Focus on our tail! Focus at 12 o'clock. Focus on our 6. Enemy targets located. On our right. Focus on our 6. Take off! Enemy targets located. On our left. Focus at 12 o'clock. On our left.
Caution.
Shot!
Alert, body damage.
Focus on our 6.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body
off.
damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. On our left. Focus on our 6. Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy targets located. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! On our left! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight.
Warning.
Focus on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Focus on our 6. On our left. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. On our left. Focus on our 6. Enemy in sight. Take off.
Warning.
Great shot. Enemy target.
Warning.
Altitude too low.
Warning.
Enemy locked on us. Missile
Caution.
approaching. Dive.
Caution.
Dive.
Caution.
On our right. Enemy targets located. Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Enemy locked. Bingo! Enemy targets located. Mission accomplished.
Your mercenary unit has proved its reliability. We request you aid in the extraction of one of our officers from the enemy mountain fortress. We can only send one unit without alerting the opposition. Target: cripple enemy air defense and land on their runway. Only you have the requisite skills. You will be paid handsomely.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Focus on our 6. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Don't let him get away! Stay with him! Great shot! Enemy locked on target. On our right! On our left! Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Here! Oh! I'm losing him! Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! Take off! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Fire! Shoot it down! Take back one! Take off! On our right! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Stay with him. Enemy in... Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! Jesus, miss! They blew him away! Jesus, miss! Let's return to mission, buddy! Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight.
Warning.
Bogey on our 6. On our left. Up ahead. On our left. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Great shot! Don't let him get away! Jesus, miss! Here! Oh! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Back one!
The enemy is committing its huge mothership to this theatre. They are growing desperate. Eliminate the mothership and their naval mobility is crippled. There are no reference points on the ocean. Pay attention to the operational map. Target mothership.
Ready? Right now! Enemy targets located. Focus 12 o'clock. Focus on our 6. Great shot! On our left. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Let's stay with him. Bingo! Yahoo! Wingman has been hit. Stay with me. Focus on our 6. On our left. Focus on our 6. Take off! Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body damage.
Focus on our 6.
Alert, body damage. Alert,
Enemy
body
target
damage.
located.
Alert,
Take
body
off.
damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. On our right. Up ahead. Focus on our 6. Focus at 12 o'clock. Enemy take off. Quick shot. On our left. Focus on our tail. Up ahead. Enemy in sight. Focus on our 6. Up ahead. Take off.
Caution,
On our right.
caution.
Focus on our tail. Focus on our tail. Focus on our 6. On our right. Focus on our tail. Focus on our 6. Bingo! Yahoo! Enemy target located. On our right. Enemy in sight. Focus at 12 o'clock. On our left. Focus on our 6. Focus on our tail. Focus on our 6. Up ahead! Request return to mission, buddy! Enemy locked on target. Fire!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Up
Alert,
ahead!
body damage. Alert, body damage.
Bogey on our
Alert,
6.
body damage.
Up ahead! Take off! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! On our left! On our right! Bogey on our tail! On our right! Enemy in... Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot him down! Stay with him. Great shot! Bogey on our 6. Let's return to mission, buddy. Blew him away. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Enemy. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in. On our left. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Take off. Mission accomplished.
The captured port has become a key resupply facility for our forces. We cannot allow the enemy to cripple or recapture it. Current intelligence suggests the enemy is preparing a bombing raid utilizing stealth bombers. Even one can devastate the facility. Keep alert. Target, stealth bomber wing.
Ready? Break now! Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire! On our right! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! Take off! On our right! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Take off! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive! Bingo! Yahoo! On our left! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. On our left.
Warning.
Up ahead.
Warning.
Bogey on our our 6. Take off. Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Take off. Jesus, miss. Fire. Shoot it down. Back one. On our right. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our 6. Stay with him. Bingo. Yahoo! Take off. Blew him away. On our right. Bogey at 12 o'clock.
Warning.
Enemy locked on target.
Warning.
Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our tail. Up ahead. On our left. Enemy in sight. Up ahead. On our left. Bogey on our enemy locked on us. Missile approaching.
Caution.
Dive.
Caution.
Take off. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Wasted. On our right. Mission accomplished.
Despite the elimination of all fuel refineries, the enemy continues to conduct operations. You are assigned to recon for undetected fuel supplies. Even though this is just recon, engage and eliminate any opposition patrols. Good hunting!
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Locked on us. Missile approaching.
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body
Bogey on our
damage.
6.
Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Bogey on our tail. Enemy in sight. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Fire. Shoot it down. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Jesus. Bogey on our tail. They would take off.
Warning.
Enemy locked on us.
Warning.
Missile approaching. Dive. Dive. Bogey on our 6. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Enemy road, take off! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Don't let it get away! Back one! On our right! Enemy is up ahead! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Bogey on our tail! Take off! Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Jesus, miss! On our left! Bogey on our 6. Up ahead! Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Fire! Shoot it down! He is wasted! Enemy target located. Enemy in sight. Fire! Bingo! Bogey on our 6. On our right. Up ahead. Fire! Shoot it down! He is toast! Mission accomplished.
Our recon work has identified the last fuel depot. Go and bomb it flat. Target: a group of fuel production bases. The enemy is using its top guns in this theater. Keep focused and good hunting.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy locked on target.
Alert, body
Locked on.
damage.
Visual approaching.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Quick shot! Take off! Move on our tail! Move on our tail! Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Move on our tail! On our left! Move on our six! Enemy bingoes! Move on our tail! Altitude too low! Fine!
Caution. Low altitude. Caution.
Too low! Fine! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. On our right! Bogey on our six. On our right! Up ahead! On our left! Bogey on our six. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Don't let him get away! Jesus, miss! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Shoot him away! On our left! Bogey on our six. On our right! Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Bogey on our six. Up ahead! Missile approaching. Dive! Enemy targets located. Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Shoot him away! Enemy targets located. Bingo! Yahoo! Great shot! Bogey on our six. On our left. Bogey on our tail. Bogey on our six. On our right. On our left. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our six. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our six. On our right. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Bogey on our six. On our right. Up ahead. Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot it down. Shoot him away. Jesus, miss. Enemy targets located. Enemy targets located. Bogey on our six. Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our six. Take off. On our left. Great shot. Bogey on our six. Take off! West. Enemy in. Bogey on our tail! Up ahead! On our left! Bogey on our tail! locked on. Enemy targets located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Oh, altitude too low. Fire!
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Up ahead! Up ahead! And up ahead! On our left! Bogey on our 6. Mission accomplished.
Our offensive operations are now concentrated on the Scorpion Island fortress. The base itself is a hard nut to crack, but we will isolate it by eliminating its bridge and central runway. Target, Red Suspension Bridge to the island and its Air Force base. There will be plenty of ACAC and SAM defenses around the runway. Go in for one pass, then break off operations.
Ready? Break now! Enemy targets located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! On our left. Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Altitude too low. Fly! Enemy targets located. On our left. Bogey on our tail. Up ahead. On our left. Up ahead. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot it down. Stay with him. Enemy targets located. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Take off. Enemy locked on target. Great shot. Enemy locked on target. Altitude too low. Fly! Enemy locked locked on target.
Halted.
Great shot! Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Great shot!
Alert, body
Slow,
damage.
flying.
Alert, body damage. Alert,
Bogey
body
on our
damage.
six.
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy targets located. Up ahead! Bogey on our six. Enemy locked on target. Great shot! Take off! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy
Warning.
locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive!
Alert, body damage. Alert, body damage.
Enemy
Alert,
in sight.
body
Up ahead!
damage. Alert,
On our
body
left!
damage.
Bogey on our six.
Alert, body damage.
Enemy in sight. Bogey on our six. Enemy locked on target. Bogey on the take off.
Halted.
Go,
Halted.
flying. Up ahead. Bogey on our six. Bogey on our tail. On our left. Up ahead. On our left. On our left. Bogey on our six. Enemy in sight.
Halted.
On our right. Bogey on our tail. On our left. On our right. Oh,
Halted.
pull out of it. On our left. Bogey on our six. Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Bogey on our tail. Mission accomplished.
The enemy is on his last legs. One more strike should lay him out. Take your unit through the ravine to the enemy headquarters. Intelligence is sketchy on force composition near the headquarters, so keep on your toes. Fly low on your way in. Everything above the ravine is a SAM kill zone.
Ready? Break now! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! low, flying.
Caution. Low altitude. Caution.
Too low, flying.
Low altitude.
Enemy in sight. Fire! Blew him away! On our left! Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! He's wasted! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot him down! He's wasted! Up ahead! Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot him down! He's wasted! Mission accomplished.
Urgent message. Enemy giant airborne fortress discovered. This may be your final task. Eliminate it before it reaches our airspace. Good luck.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located.
Caution. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body
Look on our
damage.
tail! Enemy
Alert.
targets
Body
located.
damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage.
Enemy targets located. On our left. Look on our tail!
Caution.
Locked on target.
Caution. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert. Body damage. Alert.
Enemy
Body
targets
damage.
located.
Alert. Body damage.
Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target.
Caution. Caution.
Enemy targets located. Bogey on our tail. Bogey on our 6.
Warning.
Enemy lost the missile
Caution.
approaching. Dive!
Caution.
Dive! On our left. Bogey at 12 o'clock. Up ahead. On our right. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Great shot! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Stay with the back one! Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located.
Caution.
Take off! Bogey at 12 o'clock. Enemy up ahead. Enemy in sight. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Great shot! Don't let it... Enemy targets located. Up ahead! Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on target. Take off! Bingo! Yahoo! On our left. Up ahead. On our right. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Enemy locked on. Take off.
Caution.
On our right. Enemy in sight. On our left. Enemy locked on target. Great shot!
Caution. Caution.
Up ahead! Bogey at 12.
Warning.
Lost the missile approaching. Dive! Dive!
Caution. Warning.
Enemy on our left.
Warning.
Bogey on our 6.
Warning.
Let's return to mission,
Warning.
buddy. Take off! Enemy locked. Enemy target located.
Caution. Caution.
Bogey on our tail! Bogey at 12 o'clock. Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Great shot!
Caution.
Enemy in sight. Enemy target located.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Great shot!
Caution.
On our right. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Take off.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Great shot!
Caution.
Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Pull out of it. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Great shot!
Caution. Caution.
Pull out of it. Enemy in sight.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo! Altitude too low. Climb. Bogey on our 6. Bogey on our tail. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
Enemy locked on target. Take off. Bogey on our 6.
Caution.
On our right. Bogey on our 6. Take off! Enemy locked on target. Bingo! Yahoo!
Congratulations. The enemy has capitulated and the coup has failed. The rightful government has been restored to this peaceful country. Your skill as top guns changed the balance. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you.